Welcome back to the show, folks. This is the wrap-up, your daily dose of pop culture and movie news, hosted by me, Mr. H Reviews. On today's show, you've seen it, there's a big picture there. We'll be talking X-Men, Dark Phoenix. The reviews are in, and it's not looking good. So, we're going to do a review roundup. Most of the reviews are in now, so just take a brief look at them. For those people that are anticipating my own personal review of this movie, that will be out shortly, well, later today. After this video has been released, I will be going off over to my local theatre and watching that movie, so expect my review shortly afterwards. Then we'll also be taking a look at David Dastmalchian. He is one of the stars of Denis Villeneuve's Frank Herbert adaptation Dune. People will remember him from Ant-Man, probably most prominently. Cinema Blend sat down with him to discuss his role in Dune and just why he's looking forward to it and things like that. So there's some interesting snippets in there, so we'll take a look at that interview. And then MTV spoke with Bryce Dallas Howard, of course, one of the stars of the Jurassic World franchise, about the possibility of the original cast returning in that film. So we'll take a look at that interview and kind of ascertain whether it's BS, rumour, conjecture, whatever. And then hopefully we'll have some time for some viewer questions, because we've got 2 viewer questions which came in and they are very, very good. So hopefully we'll have some time for that at the end of the show. If you want to skip right ahead to anything, then please do check the timestamps down below in the description box. You don't have to listen to me waffle, just skip right ahead. But like I said, guys, if you are new here, please do hit subscribe. You can stay up to date on this, the daily show, the daily wrap up of pop culture and movie news here on my channel. So let's talk X-Men Dark Phoenix. Like I said, it's not looking particularly great. Okay, like I usually do review roundups. This is the last outing for Fox. This is the last outing for Fox. It's had a really tumultuous history. So just to kind of bring you up to speed on it, it entered into production. It seemed to be completely done. Then they... I'm fairly certain anyway, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm fairly certain the order of the shit show went. They released the trailer, then they pushed it back. No, they had a release date, then they pushed the release date back. Then they released the first trailer, despite showing people trailers already at CinemaCon, Comic-Cons and things like that. Then they pushed it back even further. Then they went back for reshoots. I think that's about it. Basically, it's been an absolute nightmare. Interestingly enough, this is Simon Kinberg's directorial debut. Simon Kinberg is one of the producers behind many a movie, a lot bad, and some good. So for him to be out here as a director is very, very interesting, just from a spectacle perspective. This movie, I don't have massive high hopes for. The embargo was very, very close to its release. So I doubt it's going to be particularly great, and the reviews kind of reflect that. So let's just take a look. These are all spoiler-free. Screen Rant's Molly Freeman wrote, "It's possible that Dark Phoenix is a more satisfactory adaptation of the Dark Phoenix saga than The Last Stand was, and to the film's credit, it does introduce certain interesting ideas by going cosmic. But few, if any, of these ideas are fully expanded. Overall, the movie relies too much on a foundation within the franchise that simply hasn't been established effectively enough. It may service long-time fans of the film series and the comic books, though it also may not, but it will likely leave casual fans scratching their heads." Are there long-time fans of this particular iteration of X-Men? I don't think there is. Such a shame as well, because First Class was a great film. Probably one of the best in the entire series. I think with respect to this, it's all well and good saying that they've gone cosmic, but remember, they changed the ending of the film from an outer space scene to a train. To a train, ladies and gentlemen. To a train. Need I say more? I mean, that speaks volumes, right? Megan Demore wrote, this is for CBR, "In the end, Dark Phoenix is a step in the right direction for Fox's X-Men franchise." Well, that doesn't matter, does it? Because it's gone now. I mean, that doesn't matter at all. By enhancing the found family aspect of the team, the film stands out from its predecessors in the best possible way. Because it leans into the friendship at the core of the X-Men, Dark Phoenix creates a genuine, earnest tone that is sure to please fans of the franchise and newcomers alike. This trickles down into just about every element of the film, from the performances to the action, and makes it a stronger film overall. However, the movie has noticeable flaws that will prevent it from achieving fan favourite status like X2 and First Class. Interesting. One interesting snippet, which was on another podcast I was listening to, was that for all of these iterations, the X-Men Dark Phoenix saga, or the Phoenix saga, lasted years. And Jean Grey was the Phoenix for a long, long time. She didn't just suddenly go Dark Phoenix. So they're missing out a large portion of character development with this. Absolutely crazy. So let's just take a look. Entertainment Weekly. It's true that X-Men have never exactly been the party clowns of the Marvel. What a weird sentence. It's true that X-Men have never exactly been the party clowns of the Marvel Universe. Their hero status has always been conditional to fearful humans, and the chosen family of mutants they've landed in is less choice than necessity. Why should they have to banter for us, too? Still, for what is being called a final installment, Dark Phoenix tends to feel both anticlimactic and a little grim in the end. Basically, it sounds like trash. Here we go. So here's a point of Simon Kinberg's actual direction. So yes, the action is bad. Simon Kinberg's direction is misjudged. The script is wooden. And the acting is barely passable. This is from Nerdist. But the real sin of Dark Phoenix is just how little it tries to orient itself in Jean's dilemma. For a movie titled Dark Phoenix, that is pretty bad. Pretty scathing. The darkness in her, which trickles through her body with skin-raising lightning bolts, is barely defined. It makes her unreachable and destructive, but why? How does she feel? There's one scene where Jean, crouched in a back alley, we've seen this in the trailers, after doing something bad, asks herself aloud, why did I do that? That's about as much insight we get into her character. Who gets less to do than most of her male counterparts, even though the film is literally named after her. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Oh, not very good. Lack of imagination, disappointing. Is ultimately yet another fumble take on the classic saga. Dark Phoenix posits an interesting setup, but how do you treat dysfunctional, dangerous family member? And Kinberg and his cast, first half at least, mind the idea of good drama. Okay, well, that's fine. Doesn't sound particularly great, does it? Does not sound particularly great, guys. So, will you be watching this movie? Like I said, shortly after this show is released, I will be heading off over to my local theatre to take a look at this movie. My review will be out later today, but it's not looking particularly great. I will go into it with an open mind. I liked First Class, and I like the actors in this film, generally speaking. So I am really, I'll go into it with an open mind. I'll get some popcorn. That'll cheer me up. So I'll go into it with a fresh face and a smile. But it's not looking particularly great, basically, which is a shame because, it could have been good. But let me know your thoughts on this down below in the comments section and if you are going to be watching this movie. Now, moving on, let's take a look at David Dastmalchian. Again, I've butchered that name, but he can't wait to get the filming of Dune. I believe it's already started filming, if I remember rightly. It's in Budapest. So, this is obviously with Cinema Blend. They had the opportunity to sit down and discuss things with him. He says that I'm so grateful and excited to be a part of Denis' vision. I think that he is one of the greatest filmmakers of our time and any time. And I believe what he's going to do here, it's just going to take people to a whole other place. I hope so. I hope it's going to take us to, to Dune. He brings so much. When you think about Arrival and Blade Runner 2049 specifically, because those are the two science fiction films that he's crafted, you see his gift for telling stories that are visually stunning, but that are also rooted in really complex ideas and really fascinating characters. I will agree. A lot of people said Blade Runner 2049 was the love child of Ridley Scott, but actually when you compare Blade Runner 2049 with Arrival, the cinematography is basically the same. It's very much Denis' vision. Absolutely Denis' vision in Blade Runner 2049. I love both of those films. I think both of those films are fantastic and don't get enough credit, and definitely did not get enough credit at the box office. Arrival, I believe, was much more of a hit than Blade Runner lost money for sure, but Arrival, I'm fairly certain, made reasonable cash back. So he says that I'd read the book and I'd seen the film. I'm a very big David Lynch fan, so there was so much about the film that I had loved, but to be quite honest, I had not seen the film since probably college, probably like most people. And most of these films don't hold up when you go back, unfortunately. It had been a long time since I'd seen the film. Once I got cast in June, I decided not to revisit the film, but I did go back and revisit the book because, like I said, I love it. I've only read the book once, but I've gone back to it many times to just dip in and out and pull quotes. It's just a fun and very dense piece of philosophical writing. It's so exciting, the thought that this level of maturity and complexity in Herbert's writing is going to be put on a giant screen by Denis. And the cast that he's put together is so awesome. The cast that he has managed to clamor together for this is fantastic. In fact, it really, really is. He's managed to get a really, really good cast. So he states that the Peter de Vries that I'm playing, I hope will resonate and reflect the Peter de Vries that people who love the books associate with. I can't really discuss much about the script or the plot itself, but I can just tell you that old phrase, true to the spirit, or honouring the spirit of, and to be quite honest, I haven't seen the most recent of the script, but in the way Denis has talked about the film and what I've seen is absolutely true to and in honour of everything that Frank put into the novel. Very high praise. This could all be PR spin, remember, absolutely. And translating something from novel form to cinema form requires a lot of mastery as storytellers go, and I think there's no one better for that job than Denis. He's just so fearless, man. He makes choices, and then he goes into the places that we need right now as audiences. Yeah, I mean, a lot of this is PR spin, but that's good. I am looking forward to this. It'll be really interesting to see how this turns out. He's got a fantastic cast together for this film. So that alone is what captures my attention for this project. And the fact that it's Denis. I really like his films, so I'd be keen to see what he does with another kind of tentpole property, or something which has the potential to be a tentpole property. But let me know your thoughts. Is this a movie that you are looking forward to? Drop them down below in the comment section. Now let's move on. Over on Twitter, MTV News. They spoke with Bryce Dallas Howard and asked her about possibility of the old cast teaming up for Jurassic World. So let's take a listen. We'll listen to it together, and then we'll ascertain whether this is just, you know, just pulling articles out of thin air, or there's some truth behind it.
This is what could happen. This is when it's happening. Yeah, I'm freaking out.
Horrible music.
Confirmed, but we're going to see you with Sam and Laura and Jeff, presumably. Are you excited at the prospect of sharing some scenes with the OG Jurassic Park people?
Yes, very much. So if that happens, I don't know what's been confirmed or whatever, but I'll blink if it's happening, and maybe.
Okay. I mean, hugely irritating, but it sounds like there's the potential there. Okay. I mean, look. I'd not heard of this rumour prior to this, so this is news to me. I don't really see how that services the story that much. So I don't particularly care that they're coming back. I am very much sick of movie studios preying on nostalgia to sell their movies. And this is undoubtedly that as well. So, could this be good? Could this be bad? I mean, it could be good. Could also be atrociously bad as well. Fine, I guess. I mean, Jeff was barely in the last movie. Would it be good to see the other ones? Laura? Whatever. It's fine, I guess. What do you guys think of this? Would you like to see them? Would that sell the movie to you? Let me know down below in the comment section. Now, before we get on the topic of some viewer questions, I just wanted to let you all know that this arrived. This is, well, quite obviously, as you can see, it is the art of Godzilla King of the Monsters. Now, that arrived yesterday, just after I did yesterday's show, where I actually discussed getting that and trying to figure out when it was arriving. I am actually going to be doing a giveaway. I've got 3 copies to give away. So we will be organising that very, very soon. So you must stay tuned for that video. It's really important that you probably hit that subscribe button and the bell notification, because it will be out for a limited time and you will probably want to know when that video is released. But it's just to let you know that that video will come. And then also I will probably do a very informal sit-down review of this book. It's a beautiful book. It's very, very interesting to see how they went from some of the designs to what we ended up with. It's genuinely quite an interesting book. And there's some very interesting snippets about the Titans in there, which we didn't get in the film. And it also answers some questions. So I'm not going to reveal too much because I don't want to talk spoilers for people that haven't seen the film. But yeah, expect that video coming soon, and expect some deep dive videos about the book as well. And then also, guys, just as a quick side note before we get into the viewer questions, for those people that have been waiting my spoiler review, that will be out within the next 2 days. I've managed to get to team up with another kind of big Godzilla YouTuber, so we're going to sit down and discuss it in a very informal podcast basis, and then I'll be releasing that here on the channel. So guys, let's get into some viewer questions, because that is what we need to do now. So if you want your viewer question answered, please do submit them over to me at Gmail, mrhreviews@gmail.com, by using the subject line, The Wrap Up, and then hopefully at the end of this daily show, we can get to some of your viewer questions. But Kieran asked, "Hey Mr. H, I'm a long-time fan of your channel, love all your work." Thank you so much, Kieran. I sort of have 2 questions, if that's all right. Absolutely it is. My first question is, do you think there's a possibility we'll see kaiju not from film, as a way not to limit themselves to only using Toho's creations, especially if Toho aren't wanting to give them more kaiju? So obviously he's referring to the MonsterVerse, the rights deal between Toho, and the possibility of not seeing kaiju or other giant monsters from other movies, and just using them from other kind of materials. So he uses an example. He says, "I'd say the best example would be Nemesis from the Project Nemesis books, which is a really good book. And do you think that they'll expand of the more otherworldly side of the MonsterVerse, being the fact that Ghidorah is from space and things like this?" So with respect to that, probably not. Probably not, because this is Toho's universe. I mean, it's a legendary Warner Bros. Co-production alongside Toho. They are listed in the credits. It's unlikely that they'll get the rights to other monsters and kind of put them in. They'd sooner create their own, I think, and they have done. They've created their own a few times, so probably not. The otherworldly aspect of the MonsterVerse, I think they probably will expand upon it. If the MonsterVerse continues after Godzilla vs. Kong, then I think that they probably will. Just because why would they include Ghidorah being, from space? Otherwise, it just seems a bit of a moot point at that moment in time. So, yeah, I hand it on over to you guys, though. What do you guys think? Do you think there's a possibility that they would use kaiju not from movies and include, kind of giant monsters from books and things like that? And do you think they'll expand on the otherworldly aspects of the MonsterVerse? So Kane submitted his next question, and he said, "What's your thoughts on the MCU going forwards from Endgame? Rumours have it that it's going to be smaller stories spanning 3 to 5 movies rather than massive undertakings like the Infinity War saga." Yeah, okay, well, I think that's probably the way to go. I mean, there was some rumours of, was it Shang-Chi? Shang-Zi? I can't remember the chap's name. The character. Yeah. I mean, from my own perspective, I'm fairly done with the MCU now. I'll go and watch Spider-Man Far From Home, and I'll inevitably will have to watch all of these movies for the channel anyway. But from like a personal interest perspective, I don't really have that much interested in it now, to be perfectly honest. The changing of the guard, so to speak, has left me very disenfranchised with the franchise. So I'm not overly that interested anymore. I will be keen to see how it progresses and whether they kind of stick to what they said they were going to do with having, Brie Larson lead the franchise moving forwards and things like this. I'll watch that with some anticipation and interest, but I'm not interested in the property that much anymore unless they pull it out of the bag and provide something really, mind-blowing. But what do you guys think? Are you interested in the MCU moving forwards after Endgame? What do you think about Brie Larson leading the saga going forwards and smaller stories? I think smaller stories inevitably are the way to go. But yeah, hand it on over to you. Anyway, guys, that wraps it up here for me on this daily show of pop culture and movie news. If you are new here, like I said, please do hit subscribe. And if you like what I've been doing here on the show, check out my Patreon page via the link down below in the description box. It helps me put on these shows. The aim is to get a set going, lights, everything, actually like a dedicated recording space, if this show is a success. This has been trial run now, coming up to 2 weeks. This is the second week I've been trialing this show. So if you like it, make sure you do hit that like button and share it, because it enables me to keep the show going, because inevitably it gets out there a little bit more and will find its own audience. And that's very, very important when you put on new shows, especially when you're doing like a trial run. I know the show isn't for everyone, and I know there's been some comments, some issues here and there with respect to the audio, and people saying they like the separate videos for news. That's fine, but that's why I use timestamps. If you can't click a timestamp, it's not on me. Timestamps are there for a reason, just use them. But with respect to the audio, I've adjusted it for this episode, so hopefully that has peaked just a little bit better. But that being said, like I say, if you like what I do here, please do support the show in many ways. Liking, sharing, Patreon, all that good stuff. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. As always, I have been Mr. H. Take care.